This was me and Hypnotic playing this game last night. It's a game called Split Fiction, and it's being pretty controversial. This is brought up by Lance's point saying the split fiction reaction is fascinating. It's a result of opposite extremes. We have seen the woke end and now the other side of the scale. Go too far in any direction, you will lose balance. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this further is the fallout from this situation is wild to me. And I talked about the fallout last night, and it's kind of continued into today where there's still a lot of people. I should move myself because it's kind of weird having myself block myself. Or maybe, hold on, I can do this. There we go. It was just, it's wild to me how many people are upset at me for daring to like this game. And they're like, well, it's woke. There's two girls in it. There's that. Will the fan says it's hard to give a damn about split fiction. It's fun. It's fun. Like this is the initial storyline of it starts out. It's like probably what 4 minutes long of story, 5 minutes story, and then you get into the action here. Maybe it's like 8 minutes of story, but then for the most part, it's just go. Once you get into the game, it's just go go go. And this is what I wanted to talk about in this portion right now is just my initial impressions about this. And we talked about it briefly on SNH tonight, but my thoughts after playing for about 2 hours with Hypnotic is the game is really fun, more fun than I was expecting. And that's actually going into it knowing that people are saying it's a good game, you're going to love it. I genuinely enjoyed my time with it. It took a second to get used to the controls, but then once I figured it out, I was like, okay, I can dash, I can run. Okay, I got it. The gameplay continues to switch itself up so rapidly that it's always fresh and it never gets boring. And every time you think it's like, okay, we've kind of done this trope over and over, this thing. Okay, I get it. It's like it flips itself on its head and does a different mechanic. And you have to drive a car or fly a plane or use a whip to bring things over, or you flip on the side and you can walk on the side of walls. Like there's so many different things that you can do just in part of the game. Then there are side missions where it gets even wackier, where you're not even humans anymore. You turn into different things. And I'm not going to like spoil anything right now, but there were parts of it that were just like very, very wacky. I'll just say that the hot dog part was clearly the highlight of the night last night. Technologic says it's tons of games in one game. They keep changing outfits to match the setting. Yeah, exactly. And it never got old. And I'm genuinely looking forward to playing it again with Hypnotic, potentially even after the stream tonight. But if I had to give it like an initial impressions rating, I said this on SNH tonight, that I'd give it an 8.5. And it's like a solid 8.5 for me. It's not below 8.5. It's not above 8.5. It's a solid 8.5. Things that could improve, really, it's kind of hard. Like the storyline, a lot of people are saying the storyline is the biggest detraction from this, and I'd agree with that. But at the same time, I'm not playing this game for a storyline. I'm playing it just to get through the game. And it felt like a couch co-op from back in the day on the NES playing Contra with your buddy, where you're just both holding a controller and laughing your ass off, playing through the game, trying to beat the other person through, saving their ass, and then laughing at them when they die. It was just pure unadulterated fun. And it's been a long time since I played a game where I had that feeling of nostalgic couch co-op. And I'm not saying like, oh, this is not the first game to ever do this. Hell, this studio, Hazelight Studio, is specializing in these games. They do It Takes Two, that prison escape game, was it a Way Out? I have not played those games. But after playing this, I really, really do want to play those other games because I've heard great things about them. And I heard great things about this game going into it. I'm like, damn, if those other games are half as good as this one, I will have a blast with it as well. There's a lot of people that are hesitant to embrace this because of the two female protagonists. And I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that and just say, well, I can only take Joseph Fares at his word. He said he did this to pay homage to his daughters, and he wanted to make a game to represent his daughters in a video game. And if that's the case, if that's true, that's the most like wholesome thing in the world. And like from one dad to another, when he says that, I'm like, damn, that resonates with me. That's awesome. This guy's a very passionate guy. He wants his games to, at the end of the day, ultimately just be really great, fun games. That's what he cares about. And that shows through when you play this. Like, you can feel the passion in this game. The thought that goes into every single step of the way. There was an Easter egg that Hypnotic found during the stream last night. I don't know if I'd find it if I look for it right now, but it was amazing. He found a boombox in the train section. I think it was right around here. Was it right around here? And he tried to tune the radio, and he's like, "Oh wait, I think I just heard part of the speech on the radio." I was like, "From the Game Awards?" And he's like, "Yeah, I heard the speech from the Game Awards on the radio." I'm like, "There's no way." And he kept fumbling with it. And sure enough, after a while, he tuned it, and it came up as the speech of Joseph Fares saying, "Fuck the Oscars. Fuck the Oscars." I was like, what an awesome Easter egg. I'm not going to find it here. I don't remember. The game was, oh, here it is. I found it. Huh. Right when I said I'm not going to find it. I can't believe you called that. Like, you got that from one word. You're like, it's from the Game Awards.
That's hilarious.
Now you're in games, right? You know, I've done 6 pieces about it. Yeah, but okay, we can talk about it. Let's get into your game. I'm sorry, I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's it. That's hilarious.
They played the entire speech from the Oscars of Joseph Fares saying "fuck the Oscars" from the Game Awards, saying "fuck the Oscars, fuck the Oscars," and I'm like, what a great little Easter egg that most people playing the game would just run by that, not even notice it. But Hypnotic was like, "Oh, I can interact with this radio." And it was like way off in the corner of the room that you'd have to go out of your way to find it. And he found it while we were playing. I was like, damn. And then he's like, wait, there's actually something here. It was so cool. It's the great Easter eggs like that you're like, oh, if they put that in this, then there's got to be other stuff too. And that's kind of cool, like going in, not knowing what else is in the game and having that feeling of true exploration. And you see stuff like that. It's like, there's just passion oozing through this game. So I got nothing but great things to say about it. Like, I really don't. I really can't. I should say, I really can't say anything bad about it. It was great. The storyline itself sure seemed a little bit, I don't know, weak. I'm gonna fast forward here because I kept dying there. The storyline seemed a little bit weak, but at the same time, it's like I don't play this kind of game for like a super great story. And the story itself, it's fine. Like, it's not terrible. It's interesting enough. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like almost like Vanilla Sky, where they like go into a machine and they live a life inside of a machine type thing. So it's cool though. It's cool. But the game itself, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to playing it again. Asian Swordmaster says this game doesn't seem like a narrative is the focus. Correct. And that's kind of like why I don't put too much stock in the storyline not being like freaking Lord of the Rings or something. Like, it's a good story, good enough for what it is, and it's fun. There was a couple aspects of it, well, it's not really spoiling because it's This is the first 2 hours of the game, so it's not spoiling anything. But there was a part where you're the pigs, and to get to the end of the level, you had to ride this. I think it was right here. So this was the end of the level, and the pigs jump in. and like, were we not supposed to do that? We just died. And the next scene is you're a hot dog. And the purpose of this level, after your pig gets turned into a hot dog, this is one of the side missions when you turn into other things, is to get cooked. And Hypnotic, I was like, I'm in the bun. What do you? He's like, no, you got to cook ourselves. I was like, oh, okay. So Hypnotic was going over to get cooked. I was like, oh, I thought I was just supposed to wait in the bun with you. So I was a little confused there for a second. But I saw him get on the grill, and I was like, oh, okay. Let me waddle my way over there and cook myself. Hypno got cooked first, for sure. He tried to get in. I was like, oh, wait, no, we need to get ketchup and mustard on us. So this is how you like work together. It's like, okay, the ketchup, the mustard. I'm like, okay, now your turn. Like, it was just stupid, but hysterical. We were laughing our ass off with this. Like, well, like, what's going to happen next? And of course, this. And that was like the most memorable part of the night, was that scene right there. I'm like, this is the kind of game where you don't just play it and forget it. There are moments and scenes that you take out of it where you're just like, that is going to stay with me forever. Like, that moment, I'm going to remember that in gaming history. Like, when I look back at games, I'm going to think, oh yeah, there was that hot dog scene where you had to cook yourself in Split Fiction. That was amazing. That was hysterical. That's a scene that everyone should play this game just for that portion right there. And again, we're only 2 hours into it. And from what I understand, it's like an 8-hour or so campaign with a ton of side missions and stuff. So yeah. And the other cool thing about this game, only one person needs to buy it, and then the guest pass is free. So thankfully, no one gifted it to me, because everyone gifted me every other game in the world. So thankfully, Hypnotic had it, and I just had the guest pass and joined them, and I didn't need to buy it. It was amazing. But other things that are interesting about this game right now. Netflix Foreign says, I won't be watching any more of you streaming Split Fiction, and I don't want to spoiler anymore. Now I want to play it. Totally understand. I obviously, it doesn't matter if I did take offense or not, but I don't take any offense at all. I mean, that's kind of the vibe I would be too, where I'm like, sometimes I just want to play a game for myself and I don't want to watch other people play it. But if you want to watch someone play it and have a fun time with it, this is a great game to stream. But if you watch it enough and you are like, yeah, I'm sold, I can't recommend enough to stop watching someone else stream it and go play it yourself. Like, for sure. So the other thing was the Steam charts are going absolutely bananas with this game right now. We have, as of a couple hours ago, I haven't refreshed it. It's going to go down because it's getting late. But a couple hours ago, it was at 74,000 current players. Now it's at probably, holy, or double. Holy. I thought for sure it was going to go down. We're almost at 10 p.m. West Coast time. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a lot of people playing at this time of night. Holy crap. All-time peak has surpassed, I should say, 250,000 people playing this game. Grateful Gamer says, it's the weekend. That's true. It is the weekend. I just thought that the prime gaming hours for most of the country would be like 3 hours ago type thing. A lot of people staying up late tonight to sleep in tomorrow. Screw the clock change. True, Kira. True. But the other thing, and Hypnotic brought this up on SNH tonight too as well, was a good point, is remember, I didn't buy the game. I had the free guest pass that you can download. If your friend bought the game, you can just join their game with the free guest pass. So this is actually double the amount of sales of people that bought it that are concurrently playing. So the more realistic number would be like 127,000 people concurrently as the peak. But still, that's a ridiculous amount of people. A ridiculous. That's almost double Dragon Age the Veilguard that was in development hell for nearly a decade. This game had already surpassed it in the first 2 days of release. Think about that. More than a quarter million people playing this game. It's so deserved too. And the wildest part about all this is the sheer amount of like anger that I'm seeing in the comment section on my videos talking about my happiness with this game. And they're just like, bro, you fell off. I thought you were against woke games and this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, there's little to zero wokeness in this game at all. I feel like people just want to be lied to and patted on the head like, oh, hey, and I talked about this the other night too, but people just want to be reinforced with hating something. I'm like, trust me, I did all the research this time to be like, okay, I checked Joseph Fares, that guy. I know more about him than most people do. for the amount of time that I made sure to find out about understanding this guy's character. And he strikes me as a very passionate, genuine, no bullshit kind of guy. And I can respect that. B-Man says, the woman looks like DEI, body, comma, hair. See, that's why I said, like, there's very little wokeness in it. But, like, if you want to argue that, I'm not going to disagree. I'm like, sure, I'll give you that. That's something that's clearly very debatable. But as far as, like, the team working on it, the website has no dog whistles. There's no history of EA impacting this company. EA basically lets Hazelight work on their projects freely without any impact from Big Brother of EA Corpo, which is why these games come out as good as they do. And EA would behoove themselves to continue that approach with them, because if you just let them cook and don't touch them, they will make glorious game after glorious game forever. Like, this style of game, they have mastered. And they could do this every 2 to 3 years, come up with a new storyline and a new reason to do this. And it would do just as well, if not better, every single time it goes to sale. Every single time. They've cracked the code. They've found a niche, and nobody can compete with them in this area. So, yeah, those are my full thoughts on Split Fiction. And time allowed, and I don't get too sleepy, I will be playing it tonight with Hypnotic if he's able.